I'm back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow BigC-Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 32 podcast platforms all over the black hole in the universe. Streaming soon on 500 million platforms, OTT all over the world with BigC-Sports starting in the month of July as we kick off NFL football preseason on BigC-Sports. But in the meantime, I have a special guest going to talk about things that are really more important than sports when it comes to this great country. Will Smith, welcome to the show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you?
I feel super fantastic. You know, I give God the praise no matter what's going on in life. I'm happy for joy, pain, sunshine, and rain. But I met you last night through a friend of mine by the name of Marvell. He's a colleague in media. And in a 30-second commercial, who are you? What do you do? Your thoughts?
Well, in 30 seconds, my name is Will Price, and I'm the Chief Solutions Architect of Fires.org. We're committed to systemic change. In fact, we're a catalyst for positive change. Got a plan that will give us leverage over Congress to make them do what we, the people, need them to do for us to survive. And we're ready. Thank you for this opportunity to share.
It's always good for the opportunity. To God be the glory. And if I may, in basketball, they have a point guard. They want the point guard to handle the ball and get the ball up the court and get their players in position to run a play defensively. They want to make that stop. In politics, we call it, it's like Star Wars. We have the empire, and then we have the federation or whatever they happen to be at each other all the time. So what is your offensive strategy for getting to a certain number of petitions to make change happen at the highest level in Washington? Your thoughts?
Beautiful question. And, you use a Star Wars metaphor. It's time for the Empire to strike back.
Yes.
We're coming back like Return of the Jedi because no one thought that we had leverage over Congress. They do what they want to do. They answer to nobody, even though they make a lot of promises to get into office.
Yes.
Well, what Ralph Nader proved is that if you can get 1,500 signatures at a congressional voting district level,
yes,
you can have tremendous leverage over your elected officials because they know that those 1,500 people know other people who similarly would organize to hold them accountable for decisions that will protect, respect, and reflect the interests of the constituents if we could get those constituents to do something very simple.
Yes.
Fill out a survey that lets them know exactly what you expect them to do.
Yes.
And with 1,500 signatures, you can hold them accountable for abiding by the constituents' needs, or they have to respond as to why they will not, which gives you leverage over them as to whether or not they even need to stay in office. Make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. When you talk about Ralph Nader, obviously people know him as an advocate. He's been around many, many moons. But I want to juxtapose what you're just saying that Ralph Nader says that we can do to make change.
How do you influence a member of Congress? How do you mobilize voters? How do you publicize the voting record? How do you get through the flim-flam? How do you summon your members back to your own town meetings? It's easier than we think. Once the people get mobilized, the corporations don't have any votes, not yet at least. They have money. Why do the members of Congress want the money? So they can scare off primary opponents and put a lot of ads on TV. Well, if the people organize with a cutting edge to their vote and summon their senators and representatives to repeated town meetings, and you tell them in advance what you want to demand that they do, so they bone up on it. And they don't say, well, we'll go back and think about it. And then you have them on the stage, and you question them, and people in the audience. I mean, how hard is that? 500 petitions with legible names and occupation can bring any member of the House anywhere to a town meeting. 1,000 to 1,500 can bring any senator. They don't hear from the people.
The fact of the matter is, with 1,500 signatures and a consensus from the people in that voting district, you can hold your representative and your senator redistricting. All of that's governed at the local level.
Yes.
So if you think about it, they're actually trying to cheat so that they can have control over Congress.
Now, hold on, Will Price. Are you saying there's cheating in politics? Is that what you just said? I just need 11,000 more votes. Is that what you mean?
It is worse than that because at this point, they have no problem breaking the rules. Now, here's the deal. If you want to be able to overcome the impact of money in politics, if you want to be able to overcome the influence of redistricting, all you got to do is be able to get those people in the local voting district 1,500 signatures that said these are our priorities, and if you, whoever you happen to be, whatever level of government you're in, if you refuse to abide by the will of your constituents, which is governed by this survey, which will be updated weekly, so there's never a reason for our elected officials not to know what we want, do you understand that even if we had all red districts, that none of those people would be in office if the people, we the people, were to say, you know what, if you refuse to do what we elected you to do, then it's obvious you're working against our interests. So to get you out of office, for instance, they are willing to keep this war going, and the war increases the cost of fuel, increases the cost of food and everything, and they don't care. So Congress is the ones who can actually stop the war right now if they chose to. We can say, as a part of this 1,500 signature drive, you either end the war now, protect voting rights, impeach POTUS, because it's obvious that he's corrupt. He's already said he doesn't care even about his own base. These are things we can hold Congress accountable for doing right now. And if we were to do that, guess what? We're overcoming the influence of money in politics. We're coming back like Return of the Jedi. And we're actually making sure that our interests are the ones that Congress represents, as opposed to the donors, as opposed to any of those people who don't care about the constituents, who only care about money. This is how we strike back, and this is how we get what we want. Once we get those 1,500 signatures, we'll notify your elected officials exactly what it is that the survey says their constituents expect them to do if they don't want to be recalled and replaced. Because if they don't do what we want, we will launch investigations, because we know they're crooked, and chances are they'll resign in disgrace long before the 2026 midterm election happens, which means we can influence a lot more with this plan than anyone.
I tell you, talking to the great Will Price.
No more politicians. They're gone. No more. No more presidents. No more senators. No more congresspeople. No more, none of them. I think it is a defunct position. I think we no longer need it, because the reason we needed it before was because we didn't have like telephones and internet. So villages and communities needed to get a person to go to the central body to tell the people there what they needed. And because we as the people were like working on our farms and stuff, we couldn't all leave our stuff to go and tell the people what we need. So we'd send a representative, that's where the term comes from, a representative, to go and tell the other representatives what our neck of the woods needs. We no longer need this. Now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, but then Trevor, this seems like a world of chaos. Who is making the rules? The rules are now made by the people, for the people. And what would happen is you would pick the things that you want to be a certain way. So you would say like, oh, I think we should spend more money on roads, and I think we should spend more money on books and education. Teachers should get more salary, and no, I don't want more war. And I think we should also do this, and we shouldn't do that. And that's all you would do.
And that's exactly why you need a survey, so the Congress will know exactly what you expect them to do in exchange for your vote.
So instead of voting for a person who could not do the thing you say, I must always point out, many people get voted in and then do not do the thing that they say, you would vote. And then if most people have voted for free healthcare, there would now be free healthcare.
But who would give the free healthcare?
Bureaucrats. Right? And they're making the thing happen. They're executing what has come from the people, but there's no longer a leader who gets to take the thing that came from the people and then like make it about themselves and then not do it.
What do y'all think? When he said it, I was like, where you going, Trevor Noah? Where you going? But he landed the plane. The reality is, we just need you to go do the thing that we tell you we need to get done, period, right? So like Trevor said, if we need healthcare, we all need healthcare universally, with an option to have the kind of doctor that is not beholden to a pharmaceutical company. This is what we want. Do you want that? I want that. And I want to not go broke if I need help. This is not black. This is not white. This is not whatever. This is universally. I think we all want that. Okay. There's a tranche of money in the federal government that can supply all of us with health care. Okay. So Trevor's saying bureaucrats. Bureaucrats would say, hey, let's take a line item from the military budget, which is bloated, overextended, especially when people keep trying to go to war, and let's put it over here in the healthcare bucket, and let's give everybody healthcare with the public option that we couldn't get from the politicians. Would you agree to that? I would agree to that. It's a national thing. So there's no longer any gerrymandering or regional voting. It's the country. And that actually would tie us together more as a United States than what we currently have, which are fiefdoms. And they're all disparate and they move differently. It would make us really a whole country. I think what he's saying is spot on. Now, in order to get there, the people who are currently sitting there would have to move to remove themselves. And hell, they don't even want to stop insider trading. They don't want to take money out of running for office, even though it would help everybody if corporations weren't people. It would help everybody. They don't even want to vote for that. But I think what Trevor Noah is saying is not just profound. I think it has to happen because this system doesn't work. It doesn't work. The people are really only serving the donor class, the folk with money. They're not serving us. So how do we change that?
Well, 1,500 people in a voting district, that's achievable. And that gives us tremendous leverage over Congress that they can't deny. Because if they refuse publicly to respond to the will of the people, then that's grounds enough to change their position in Congress. So that's what this is about, leverage over Congress. And the acronym for FIRES, PHIERS, the PH makes the S sound like philosophy. Shout out to Marvell. Yes, he is an incredible man. And FIRE stands for power held in every representative's seat. Say it with me. Power held in every representative seat. Absolutely. You know, the price is right on the program with the BigC-Sports. If the price is right, no one you get a win.
And I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.